Good afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, this is Auto Detour, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing my Innovate SCG1 boost gauge, boost controller, and wideband all in one, and also getting it installed on Project Grandpa Truck. So if you're new to the channel, Project Grandpa Truck is the truck you see behind the Viper. It is a 2003 Ford F150 with the 5.4 liter. We have been installing a 76mm turbo on it from CX Racing. We're getting to the ends of the processes here, just wrapping up things like getting this hooked up. And I'm also going to be showing you my gauge mount that someone custom made for me. We're going to have to customize this vent here to get it installed in the truck. And if you're looking for that YouTube channel with that total amateur that's taking on projects that are way above his skill level, you're in the right place. Alright, so let's get started today. First, I want to show you my custom vent pod that was made for me by Customs. I will put a link to their Facebook page in the description down below. I also bought the swivel portion of the vent off the backside of a stock 10th gen vent, and I bought that from Derek from the 10th gen official Facebook page. I'll also link that down below. You can join that group if you have a 10th gen F150 and you're looking for a group to follow on Facebook. So anyway, we'll get into how we're going to modify that to fit this here in just a few moments, but let's go ahead. We're going to unbox my Innovate Motorsports SCG1 boost gauge, boost controller, and wideband all in one. Now I'm not gonna lie, I already opened it once because I got excited. First thing we have here on top is of course the gauge. So we'll pull that out of the bag. Here's our gauge. It comes with a black bezel and black face, and it comes with all the harnesses for all three functions coming out of the back. I did pick up this kit and everything on it. It was recommended to me by the tuner, who you will most likely meet in the dyno video as soon as we get the truck ready for the dyno, which should be very, very soon. But I got the kit off of Amazon, came with everything that I need, and I will put a link to the entire kit in the description down below if you're interested, not only for this application, but for any application. You're basically eliminating the need for separate gauges for a wideband, boost gauge, and boost controller. It's all in one here, which is really nice. Also has some built-in features as far as boost cut. Has some other safety features that I was really excited to hear about, because obviously safety features are good in preserving the engine, of course. So here we have a bung, if you need to weld in a bung for the O2. We already have one in the downpipe, so we won't be needing that. Here's the silver bezel for the boost gauge. So here we have a wiring harness. Yes, so it is for the O2 sensor. Plugs into this guy just like that. And here's our O2 sensor for the wideband. Got that all set up there. So we get a 9-pin programming cable here, which I'm assuming is for programming this. Oh, we have a white face if you wanted to do a white face on the gauge here. Here's our 4-bar map sensor. Looks like the solenoid for the boost controller. Looks like some T's and some hose clamps and some zip ties for the boost controller. And last thing in the box, it looks like a mounting bracket for the solenoid. Instructions, and of course, where the real horsepower lies, in the stickers. There you have it. There's everything that comes in the Innovate SCG1 boost gauge kit. Let's go ahead and get this vent modified to fit the custom boost gauge mount. So the first thing we're going to do with the vent here is we're going to take out all the fins, and you can just flex the case just enough to get all the fins out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to trim off all these tabs right along here like this. We'll do that on both sides. This one doesn't have as deep, so we're just going to trim off the tabs just like this. Now, I'm sure you could get the job done with some end cutters or some wire cutters or scissors, maybe even some tin snips or something. I'm going to use the diamond wheel on my air Dremel here, just because I want it to be a super clean cut. Well, as clean as I can make it. And I think it'll be a lot easier to get these smaller ones off this side. tabs shaved off of there. We're gonna snap this guy on just like, yeah, just like this. Just snaps in using the factory snaps, top and bottom, and then we'll just snap it in where we take the other vent out. So now let's get the gauge in here. I'm really excited to see how it looks, and then we'll work on getting the gauge installed in the truck. Okay, Stella's gonna help me put the mounting bracket on the back of the boost gauge. Whoopsie. So I cut this bracket down to size so that it butts up against the back. Butts up against the back here. So now it's the right length. And Stella's gonna screw that nut on there so that it secures the boost gauge in place. Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. Nice and tight. Good job, honey. There's our boost gauge mounted in the vent. Now let's go tackle getting this guy wired up. Let's try to get at the vent. Alright, so now we got this off. Looks like we got a couple really 8, maybe 6 millimeter screws and a couple snaps to get this flapper box off the back side. I was wrong. It's a 7/32. There we go. Vent removed. Alright, so what I'm thinking here is maybe drilling a couple holes right through this angled portion over here to run the wires back behind this panel here so I can still access them after it's installed here. I don't want to run it past this flapper because then I'll lose the capability of being able to shut the flapper to shut off airflow, because one of the main reasons I got this vent, one, because it's cool. The other is I wanted to maintain a little bit of airflow, so you can see it has the vent holes on the top and the bottom. And so I think if I drill a couple holes in here, I should be able to run the wires out the side into this area here, and then go back from there through the firewall and so on. So let's pop this panel off here and see what kind of access we have. I have a small opening right here. I guess we're gonna go out the side right over here and bring our wires across into this area. The whole reason being this panel is very easy to access, and if I need to access any of the pigtails on the back of this thing, I'll have easy access to them. So there we go. I ended up popping the holes out just behind this area I thought I was gonna before, just because when I test fitted the gauge in there, the back of the gauge is way back here and it would have been way too tight of a turn to try to come out on this little angle here. So it just worked out perfect. That, see if you can see that. You can see the door turns the right way. Those wires won't interfere with the door opening and closing. So let's get this put back in the truck. We'll get the pigtails fished over to the open steering column panel. That way we'll have access to plugging them all in and wiring up everything else. All right, well, it's in and it fits good, but that color is not even close. That's gonna have to come out. I'm gonna have to take this guy, the stock vent, to the store and see if I can't get something that's closer than that. I must have given the guy the wrong color. He had 2 colors to work with. I just went with the wrong color, so that's not on him, of course. I didn't give him a color code, So we'll just go to the store and see what we can't find to match the stock vent here. I was thinking about going with the silver bezel, but I think I'm gonna stay with the black one because it kind of matches the stereo here, kind of the shiny black on the stereo, because the whole stereo is black, even the background, and then the kind of the shiny black around the CD player here is kind of sort of similar to the shiny black on the bezel there. So you know, I think I'm gonna leave it all black. I was thinking silver to kind of go with the silver of the truck. I think this will look a lot better, but anyway, it's got to come out. We got to repaint this thing. That's gonna drive me nuts. Oh yes, that is gonna look much better. That is definitely the right color now. And you will notice I got the wheels, the front wheels back on the truck finally after 8 months of being on jack stands. So good to see the truck on the ground finally standing on its own 2 front feet, tires, wheels. So really excited to see that. This dropped the front of the truck down about 8 inches from where I was working on it before. So that's really going to be helpful for finishing up, reaching over here and finishing up things like the electric fan controller and wiring up all the stuff for the boost gauge and boost controller. So I won't bore you guys with putting the other coats of paint on the vent, but it is turning out really nice. So I will see you guys when it's time to put the vent back in and get it wired up. All right, guys, the gauge is back in and it looks really good. That gray is super close. Looks, of course, looks way better than it did before. I even went ahead and got the gauge wired up. So it's only wired up to the AFR, the wideband O2 sensor. I'll go show you that here in a second. So I got it set up, as you can see from all my voltometer and wire strippers and various wiring things down here. I did get it set up. So in the instructions, it tells you to put it behind a 5 amp fuse, which it does not come with. And I didn't have an inline fuse to use, so let me show you down here. So I did this little trick here where you take a 5 amp fuse, the large blade style ones, and I took 2 female spade connectors and just made myself an inline fuse by putting the spade connectors onto the fuse and then heat shrinking it, obviously, so it doesn't touch anything. And so that's just an easy, quick way to put together an inline fuse if you don't have one already. I had this stuff lying around, and so now it's wired up. I went and fused it into a switched fuse inside the fuse box, and then there's also a dimmer line that you hooked up that I went ahead and tapped into the parking lights here, so that when you turn on the parking lights or the headlights, it dims the gauge so that it's not quite so bright at night. Let me turn the key on here and show it to you. All right, so there we go. She's all lit up. You can see AFR O2 heater. I already calibrated the O2 sensor per the instructions that came with this. Once it's all the way heated up, it'll pop up with the AFR over here just like that. So it's all set to go, and then I'll pop on the lights here so you can watch it dim. So it doesn't dim very much, and I'm not sure if you can tell on camera, but at night I have a feeling like it's still going to be pretty bright, but even a little bit dimmer, and maybe it has settings to adjust that, but that should help a lot with night driving. So let me go show you the O2 sensor. So there's the O2 sensor plugged right into the top of the downpipe there. And like I mentioned before, this downpipe already came with a bung welded into it. So I ran the O2 sensor back here. And Ford was oh so generous to provide a nice big grommet right there for me to splice. I'm going to be running a lot more lines through it when it comes time to hook up the boost controller solenoid and also the map sensor. That's also why I haven't hooked up the line from here to the wastegate yet, because the boost solenoid is going to be in line with that. So I gotta run the right length of line for that. So I was really looking to get that gauge installed with the wideband hooked up. Not that I really think I need it to fire the truck up, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be running super rich with the 60-pound injectors on the stock tune. So we will look at installing the rest of the SCG1 kit, the boost controller solenoid, and the map sensor. We'll get that hooked up in another video, along with the electric fan controller, because these guys are still just dangling down here. So next video, we're gonna be firing up the truck. I'm really excited about that, and I'm a little nervous all at the same time, because a lot of stuff has been changed, and there's a lot of hot piping going on over there next to the battery and a lot of wiring. So I'm gonna watch that really closely. Also gonna be looking for leaks. Hopefully it runs well enough that I can check all this stuff before we head to the dyno. If you guys are enjoying this build, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Have a great night. I'll talk to you next time.